Today's fairy tale is an Iraqi story, specifically from Baghdad, called The Enchanted Storks. Basically about an eavesdropping king who wants to be in everyone's tea. There's a caliph, the ruler of Baghdad, who is the commander of the faithful and the ruler of all Islam, and everyone loves him. But what mystifies them about their ruler is that he seems to know what's going on in everyone's lives. The caliph has 1,000 eyes, people would say, and they wondered if he had spies or something. But his real secret is that he and his vizier would sneak out of the palace and dress as commoners every day and just walk through the marketplace listening to all the gossip of the village. One day while they're out in the village, a wizened old man comes up to the caliph and he's like, "Look at this snuff box, isn't it pretty? Don't you want it? Like, I'll give it to you for just 1 coin." And he's like, "All right," so he takes the box. When they're done gathering the tea, the caliph and his vizier go out to the edge of the city and they sit down and rest, and he's like, "Let's look inside the box." And they look inside and it is filled with a pungent powder, and it has this inscription that says, "A sniff of snuff for wings to soar, Casalaver for hands once more." The caliph's like, "Dude, this stuff is magic. I've always wanted to fly. I bet if we inhale this stuff, we can turn into birds." The vizier's like, maybe that's a little dangerous. I don't know if we should just do that. And he's like, "Well, if the snuff works, the magic word here will work to change us back. So let's do it." So they take a pinch, inhale the powder, and both of them turn into storks. They speak to each other in stork language, but they can understand each other. And they're like, "Oh, this is awesome. Let's go test our wings out." So they soar through the sky. They fly over the city of Baghdad. They go everywhere, they see everything, they listen to everything, and the caliph is like, "Man, a stork knows this place even better than me." Eventually it's evening and the vizier's like, "Dude, I think we should go back to the palace." And the caliph's like, "You're right." And so they say, "Casalaver," but it doesn't work. The magic word does not work. They're stuck storks. They can't change back. And they're really hungry. And so the vizier's like, "Dude, I guess we gotta go eat what storks eat. Let's go look for some frogs and toads, snakes and eels, snails and slugs, and worms and grubs." And so they go do that. The next morning, they head back to Baghdad to see what's going on, and everyone's like frantically searching for the vizier and the caliph. And then the caliph's brother, Omar, marches in on horseback, and he's like, "I'm gonna take over now that my brother's gone." And caliph is like, "Oh, he always wanted my throne, and now I'm not there, so he can take it." In sadness, they fly out to the countryside, and there they see a woodpecker that is crying human tears, and they're like, "That's weird." The caliph says, "Woodpecker, why do you weep?" And she says, "Why should I not? You were born a bird, but I am a human princess. An evil sorcerer threw this spell upon me because I wouldn't marry him, and I have to stay a bird until another man asks me to marry him." The caliph and the vizier are like, "Where does this magician live?" And she's like, "Oh, he meets with these other sorcerers in the middle of the forest every night." And they're like, "Hey, let's all go there together. Maybe we can help her and help ourselves." And they see this meeting of sorcerers, and the one who cursed the woodpecker, Kadur, is the guy who sold them the snuff box, of course. And Omar, the caliph's brother, shows up, and he's like, "Hey, Kadur, thanks for selling my brother that snuff box that turned him into a bird and giving me the kingdom. Like, how did you do that, by the way?" And then Kadur, the sorcerer, reveals that he wrote the word Casalaver instead of the word Calasaver, which is the real magic word. And the storks are hearing all this. The caliph is so mad, he immediately storms in. He's like flapping his wings and pecking them with his beak. All the men run away, and the vizier's like, "Wait, shouldn't we go after them?" And the caliph is like, "No, we got spells to undo first." He and the vizier say Calasaver, the correct word. They turn into human men, and then he turns to the woodpecker princess and he says, "Will you marry me?" In a flurry of feathers, she transforms into a beautiful young woman, and she says, "The honor would be mine." They ride into the city of Baghdad as humans, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, the caliph is back." And the caliph is like, "Seize him," to Omar. And Omar is like, "Please, brother, spare my life." And his brother says, "For your treason, I should behead you, but instead I will banish you by ship to the farthest end of the earth, and by the beard of the prophet on the voyage, you will eat nothing but toads and snails." Like I did when I was a stork. The caliph regained his throne, got a lovely wife in the process, and now he seems to know even more about his people because they never notice that every night a pair of storks fly around and eavesdrop. As always, check out my book, Dust Spells, a reimagining of the fairy tale The 12 Dancing Princesses, and my podcast. All the links are in the bio.